before we open up to questions.
All right, hey, thanks again for coming. Really appreciate it. Huge day for our program with trying to create a game-like atmosphere here. We're 2 weeks into camp and 2 weeks out to Old Dominion. And I really believe that we got really everything out of it that we wanted to get, including my number one goal, and that was staying healthy. And thankful for that. Gosh, on every play when you're going against yourself, you know, I can be really excited and I can be really upset. It's how you want to look at it. But I think we're getting better. I thought our first week was fantastic. I thought this second week we took some steps forward, but maybe not as big of a step as I would have liked. But, you know, after today's scrimmage, and we still got to see the film and whatnot, I think we took some big steps forward. And our guys are we're not fighting them at all. I mean, our guys, you know, badly want to be really, really good. It's a tight-knit team, a lot of new people on it. Our upperclassmen have done a fantastic job of bringing in and welcoming the new guys, and feels as though that we the family that we are already. And really excited about this third week and last week of camp before, you know, game week with Old Dominion, like I said. But we've taken steps forward. I'm super excited about our staff, the way that we work together, and the way that we have a high standard for our team. And I'm just really proud of our team. So it was a good day. It's been a good 2 weeks.
Questions for Coach Creighton?
You mentioned health-wise got through today, but it seems like some guys are being held out for just precautionary reasons. The two guys were on crutches, is Brandon and I think it was Snelling. Are those more longer-term injuries or the only kind of ones that might affect the season?
Yeah, we're still waiting on an MRI reading on one of those two, but we have suffered some significant injuries, you know, this week. We had a sort of a rash there in the middle of the week, and some early on, just again in fluke, non-contact situations. And I know it's part of the game, but it's, you know, there's two parts of the game that I can't stand, and that's one of them. So yeah, we're dealing with that, and you know, our doctors are great. Same with our training staff and the guys that we can get back sooner than later. That's awesome, and some will be more long term.
Any not willing to say the guys that are going to be out longer or that might be out part of the season?
Yeah, you know, the docs are here today after the scrimmage, and so, I mean, there's some conversations that are happening today. We will know, you know, a lot more on Monday, you know, and happy to address what I can, you know, at that point. But no, we've had some significant injuries.
But guys like maybe like Dustin Creel and O'Connor, more just precautionary stuff?
Well, yeah, Creel is something that we expect for him to come back from. You know, Pat O'Connor suffered the same thing that happened, you know, in the spring. Yeah, it's a shoulder. Yeah, so we're still dealing with that and making some decisions about that. Yeah, I think, you know, by the end of the week we're gonna know, you know, for sure the direction that we're going with that.
You know, with those some of those maybe happening in the first week, how does the team kind of bounce back from that? How do you approach that? You know, 'cause it's tough to start out with something if there were serious injuries.
Yeah,
you don't want to see that.
You know, these guys work together so hard for so long. It's really an interesting dynamic because, I mean, everybody, when somebody goes down, like there's a moment, and you know, it can't be for too long, but sometimes it is, where it's just like everybody on the team is just like, that can't happen, not to that guy, and it doesn't matter who it is. You know, it's just people put so much time into it, and at the same time, everybody knows that we're going to run another play, and that practice goes on, and that, you know, you have to you know, finish the practice and continue to work. And then, you know, the training room is a place where, you know, after practice, when somebody, you know, suffers an injury, everybody's in the training room, you know, wanting to know how the person is. So it's an interesting dynamic. It's you know, I mean, it's a really big deal, but at the same time, everybody understands that we don't have a long moment, you know, to deal with it. We keep pushing forward.
As far as kind of the steps forward, you mentioned, what's the kind of the biggest thing kind of 2 weeks in that you've seen the improvements, and maybe one area where you kind of, I know turnovers was mentioned a couple of times today, just where you'd like to see that gap get a little better filled quickly, kind of
Yeah, our emphasis on turnovers, I think, has been really good. Maybe the first week better than the second week in some ways. But there is definitely an awareness coming from our team, on the significance of turnovers. And I think we're doing some things in camp just to try to continue to emphasize its importance. And so, there's not a guy on our offense that wants to turn that ball over. And on every play, the defense's eyes, if they're allowed to be on the ball, they're trying to figure out if there's a window to get that thing out. And so that's been much improved. I think, talked about it going into camp, and I think that it is borne true that being in the system, for a second year now, we're just in a farther along spot, if you will, with coaching more details at this point, both offensively and defensively and special teams. And so we're not at square one with guys knowing, what's going on, which I think is really good. What we also talked about is that we just need to close the gap on our depth in certain spots. And so and that can come from guys who were here on our football program, last year, but they're in a backup role, and the gap between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 was just too big, and so we're trying to close the gap that way. And then, we have some guys who showed up here on June 28th for the first time, and so everything is new to them, and so we're trying to bring them along, as quickly as possible. And the rash of injuries that we had in the second week, is just sort of exacerbates that in some ways. So that's something that we're continuing to, coach. I mean, today, I don't know how many reps the threes ended up getting, but close to
probably 15 to 18, somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably in that range or whatever. And so, they've been getting reps and a significant amount, all the way through.
Any position group that's kind of come out as like a group that surprised you, just performance-wise in a positive way, like it's kind of made leaps and bounds? I don't know, that's kind of made a statement or, made a point that be really, much improved from even the spring.
Yeah, I would say that not surprised. I can't say that that there's a group that positively or negatively has been surprising. I would say in some ways there hasn't been this massive disparity, on either side of the ball with one group being dominant or being subpar. I haven't felt that at all. I feel as though that our punt unit, I think is really strong right now, and I think there's a difference between year 2 and year 1 in terms of our guys knowing the importance and the significance of special teams. In terms of substitutions coming from 2 sidelines today, it was sloppy, but that I don't think that's indicative of at all of the attention that we've put into special teams, and I think that those can be a weapon for us. It starts with the blocking and the coverage and all of those things, but I mean Dylan Mulder as a senior is just really smooth and confident right now, and then Austin Barnes, the field's not long enough. When he hits one, I mean it goes a long way, and so I think it's the most important play in football. And we've put some significant attention to it, and I think it's pretty strong.
Coach DeVore,
Yeah.
Running backs kind of rotated first unit. Like Shaq got a lot of play. I mean, is it kind of like last year? Feel like you got 3 guys where it's kind of Blake and Darius where it's kind of split split the load or a little bit, or
Yeah.
do you see a guy emerging as kind of more of a number 1?
Yeah, I think when you bring up Blake's kind of our utility guy. And that's just what makes him awesome. It's going to give us a lot of flexibility within our offense because he's really good out in space as a receiver. Understands how to run routes, how to be quarterback friendly. As far as being in the right place at the right time to receive a pass. But he's also, he grew up a running back and knows how to carry the ball, so you can put him in the backfield. I think it's really, at our running back spot, it's Shaq and DJ. And, those guys, we're trying to actually be careful with their reps because we really feel good about, what they give us. They're not just good ball carriers. They're very good receivers out of the backfield. And I think Shaq had a couple catches today. I think one was a one-handed catch. And we were trying to get him out of there, actually. And the tempo, momentum of a drive, actually, he stayed in there longer than we wanted. But those guys have done a nice job. We feel good about the running back position.
We see Strange had a good day today. Has he had a good 2 weeks here? I don't think he's probably played the last couple weeks.
he had a much better second week, and he's been more consistent. We've really challenged him with his effort just to bring it all the time, and we saw some play where he was 30 yards downfield blocking, and that is what we want to have happen, is that to just become contagious and as a senior, rub off on the young guys and understand how important and the great opportunities that exist if you do a good job blocking, not just being in position, but hustling and, blocking for 6 seconds, not for 1 or 2.
And then Cole Gardner kind of jumps in, looked like at tackle. Happy with that transition, obviously?
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's been doing an awesome job, and man, what a selfless act. First of all, just when we talked to him, it was what he felt was best. We felt was best for the team. He jumped on board with it. We knew he could be good. He's gotten better at a much greater clip than we probably even thought was expected, and he just hopped right in from day one and was all in on it. I think the constant contact was something maybe by the end of the first week, the beginning of the second. But now I think he understands mentally now what it takes to be an offensive lineman each and every play.
What's his next step? Where do you think that kind of is it just getting used to the grind of it because it's more constant? It's not when you're rolling out for or going out for a pass every play, or every other play. You have to kind of get used to that.
Yeah.
Like you said, is that kind of a couple weeks into the season you're going to kind of find out a little more just because it is different.
Yeah, that like you said, I think he did that a little bit here. He kind of figured that out this week towards the end, especially the grind of being an O-lineman. I think just he's going to develop a relation. Now he's got to kind of develop the relationship with the guys around him, and it's been a little bit of a merry-go-round, at the left guard and center spots, and so working with the tight ends on their combos and things like that, and just becoming a better run blocker. But when he's on his own, and knows, the plays that we've been running over and over again, he's getting the job done, and he's one of the better ones we have out there, and we got some other good players up front.
Center still had some bad snaps today.
Yep.
Probably not what you want to see. Is that,
Yeah.
you said, kind of rotating still haven't kind of locked that down then?
Yeah.
Still just kind of trying to get that figured out
Yep.
last year still?
Yep, no, you guessed it. It's still 3 guys really working in that spot. Jeremy Hickey, Jake Kirkham, who came back from a knee injury, was really the starting center at the beginning of the season last year, working back into it. And then we've really challenged Matt Thornton, who played a lot of the ones today. He's a good sized body in there that has the ability to do it. But like you saw, we had an errant snap, especially on the 1 yard line that caused us from scoring. So just try to find the best combination of guys. We don't have a lot of depth at the offensive line position, and so moving them around has limited their reps and the continuity that they have. We've still got to figure that position out. And then that will help us figure out the guard position as well.
So it's more just the interior of the line.
Yeah.
That kind of attack.
Yeah.
Tackles are set.
Yep.
More just trying to figure out the 3 guys on the inside.
Yep.
Yeah, you line up.
And Wiley, played a lot of guard last year,
Right.
but we're really feeling good about him at tackle right now.
And then receiver depth-wise, you've seen guys step up. I know you guys want to see some improvement from guys. What is the kind of the general group done?
Yeah. Yeah, the receiving core, I think about the passing game in general. A guy like Creel, going down is, we need him out there, but he went through the whole spring and got pretty much 15 practices in, or he got most of the spring in, and really showed us what he could do and the ways we can use him. It was really our first time having him and really working with him to figure out, okay, these are the things he's really good at. He's I feel good about that. It's just, Cody Tuttle coming in. We're trying to be careful a little bit with his reps because he's going to be a significant guy. And in practice, he's done a real nice job, being a passing threat, a catching threat. And the guy that really, has again, made a big play, I think I talked to you about him earlier, was Eddie Doherty. And today he jumps up. He's the littlest guy on the field. He jumps up. He's a 6'7" high jumper. And makes a fade down the sideline. And with Creel being out, Eddie has had a chance to run more plays, and so has Austin Stone. And those 2 guys have gotten a lot better, and their fall camp has been great. Chris Strange, you saw him making some plays today, and so I know we're better at that position. and we have more combinations to use when you count Blake Banham, Cody Tuttle, Sam Browning, came into us right before fall camp, and so he's still, learning things, but he's going to be a great receiving threat for us, and brings a great mentality that you can use him in the line of scrimmage as well as a tight end. That tight end position is pretty much, you think about Tyrese being gone and Cole moving to tackle, we're starting over from scratch, but they've done a really good job.
Defensively, a little more vocal even than last year. It seems like he's going to be kind of the guy in the middle to run things, or do you get that sense that he's kind of taking that step leadership-wise to be more of a focal point?
Yeah, he's definitely a leader. He knows how to. He knows our defense. He knows it well. He knows what's expected, and he understands situations as well. What needs to be focused on. I think Anthony Zappone, though, eBay's missed a couple practices, and Anthony can equally do that as well. He hasn't had the same responsibility, but when it's needed, he can be a voice as well. He's got the same intensity, and has had an excellent camp as well.
Up front, what have you seen? I know you guys were concerned a little bit about the depth of the line. Have you guys seen kind of guys step up like you wanted to kind of have a little bit more of a rotation and feel good about it?
I think so, yeah. Jeremiah has had a good camp, which was expected of him. I mean, he needed to have a good camp, and he has, Jeremiah Harris. And then Derek Dunlap has continued to come along. Lost a little weight at our direction, and is quicker, lighter, and has an intensity about what he wants to get accomplished, and he's ready to step forward. And then Deshae Powell has also missed some time with injury. With coming out of spring and the summer, was just really out throughout the summer, but was healthy enough to start camp, and has a great attitude with things right now. So those two, knowing the system and filling in, guys that have been here filling in, doing a great job, I think are going to help us with our depth. And then Kwani Figueroa, a freshman, spent time with the one defense today, and made some plays. He's very intelligent with our defense. Has been a great studier of the playbook. So in a very 2 weeks, he knows what we're doing. We can put him at two different positions right now, and he's been effective at both. So that's definitely going to help with depth as well.
Mikey kind of came in and was like immediately a guy that looked like you guys were happy about and kind of has stuck to that spot. What was it about him that he kind of came in and just kind of, it doesn't look like he's going to let up his spot with that first unit.
Yeah, Ike Calderon. Yeah. We got Ike and we got Ike Calderon. So we got to always clarify. It drives those two nuts. But Ike is he's a dynamic kid. I mean, he plays. He's not a kid. He plays quick. He plays fast. He plays with a lot of energy, and has also been one of those that's come in at a couple different positions where we try to utilize his strengths. Because he's a playmaker, so he's played at our rover position, he's played at our whip position, and now is playing our safety position. All three of those positions are being coached by Coach Frakes, and so he knows what's going on, and I think he's hungry to make plays.
In the secondary, where we kind of seen, a lot of the guys are back, Daquan and everybody, seen them make kind of a leap here, and what do you expect out of the group in general?
We have the corners. I know Coach Bullocks was disappointed today, with the way that the results turned out on the edge. But I think through camp, seeing a group of 3 or 4 corners making plays because of confidence, because of their preparation, trusting that, that's been a good growth spot for us. And then. In addition to those corners, I think Jason Beck in his second year, he is an intense. He plays at his full speed all the time, and he's moved over to the weak side safety for the most part. He can play both, and that's really in his wheelhouse right now. And I think that's making that position better.
With the second year, do you expect more consistency? Just because they know details and are getting more reps. I mean, that was kind of the problem. Just lack of consistency last year at times. I mean, do you expect it to be better?
We do. You know, we had 3 objectives in the summer, and one of them was to know our job, which is going to build right into you know, that consistency that you speak of. You know, when we look at the big plays that we gave up last year, how many of those were due to assignment error? You know, and then the second part to that is effort. There's a huge piece to consistency with effort, and through camp we're not there yet. We're learning how to play faster, and we're doing that at times. But that is, I'm glad that we've got more time on camp, because that's an area that we've shown some flashes. You know, you spoke of some guys being out of practice. You know, Brandon and OC. Our best effort day to complement our defense. Our best effort day was when those 2 guys were first out together. So we had a couple guys out of practice, and our tempo and pace and energy picked up, which is the response. But we still have some steps to grow there.
Just for Coach DeBoer.
You guys are starting over at tight end with everybody changing. What are your expectations for Cody?
He needs to be a key player for us. He's got a great sense of how to get open, you know, and then he just does a great job catching the ball in traffic. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be out there, you know, helping us out, being an impact player. Mm-hmm.
You look at the change from year 1 to year 2, and I know we've talked a lot about it. How much do you think you're farther ahead at this point in camp than, say, you were last year? I mean, it was a whole new system and everything. This year, I know we've kind of talked about it, but do you feel, can you tell the guys are much more comfortable and picking it up faster?
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a whole different team that we're working with. I mean, offensively, there's just days when, you know, I think back to a year ago and you know, where we were at and where we're at now. It's exciting the direction that we're going. Feel really good about it. But I also echo what Coach McCaslin was talking about with just playing full go, 100%, you know, all the time, and finishing, you know, just finishing. And I think that's what we got to continue to preach and continue to learn and do, you know, on offense, and it sounds like on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I know walking over here, you and I kind of joked. I mean, we really didn't get a good grasp on how good Reggie kind of was today, because he's so elusive that first touch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're blowing it dead. Do you think maybe that's not a true indication today of where he's at, just because he wasn't able to get out and break tackles?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing with him, is as long as he is going to secure the ball when he's out in space, then anything he does with his feet on top of what he does in practice right now, throwing it, is just going to be a plus. And it's kind of the X factor that you get with Reggie. And, you know, that's what kind of got him to the top last year as far as being the #1 quarterback. He just, you know, I think we know how to use him, but we can't overuse him as a runner. He has to be a passer first. And I talked to him right after the scrimmage, and I said, hey, when you watch the film the next couple days here before we get together on Monday, you know, I want you to really think through those situations where you had run, pass choices to make, you know, and it's 3rd and 12. You know, we're inside the red zone, you know, and some of it is we don't know if we're up or down and what the situation would be in the game, you know, but should you run it or pass it, and how should you go about doing that, you know, and how are you going to keep yourself preserved, you know, I mean, healthy, and keep the ball in your hands, you know, not turn it over. So that's a constant deal, especially when he's a non-contact guy through practice.
My last question for Coach is, everybody, of course, saw it today, but the giant banner on the east side, it certainly makes an impact, and I know it's something that the administration continues to build pieces. I mean, last year you got the field and factory brand, and this year a step further. Just talk about how much the continued efforts of the administration and the upgrades of the facility.
It's incredible. We feel so supported, you know, by our administration. You know, they want so badly, and they work so hard to grow and to improve the entire athletic department. And you know, it feels as though our coaching staff and the support staff, you know, with the program, you know, you're always, you know, working hard, and that's all you think about. And then to have an administration that seemingly, you know, thinks about it as much as we do, and is working in so many ways to make things better. It's more than a shot in the arm. It's It's awesome. It really is. And the banner, yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. They did a great job with that.
I have one more. The uniforms, do you have a favorite of the, do you guys have a favorite of the alternate ones you guys are gonna wear this season?
I do. I do. Whichever one wins the most games, but in close second would be the new white with the diamond plate numbers. So,
I'm always with him.
so.
Anything else for the coaches? Thank you.
All right, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.